Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now, this was written by Victor Jokes, okay, Joex or whatever his name is. I'm butchering it, I'm sure. Now, this was published on November 12th. Victor Jokes, Clark County election officials accepted my signature on 8 ballot envelopes. Now, what I find funny is this guy does actual investigative reporting, actual factual reporting. And it's filed under opinion columns. This is news. But yet they can't portray it as news because for whatever reasons they don't want to. Because if they actually listed it as news, it might gain traction. Whereas it's an opinion piece, it can just be kind of brushed aside. Clark County elections officials accepted my signature on 8 ballot return envelopes during the general election. It is more evidence that signature verification is a flawed security measure. No, it's not flawed. They did not care about signatures. They knew that they weren't going, when they're stuffing ballot boxes like they are, with mail-in ballots and absentee ballots, they knew they weren't going to have the signatures to do it. They knew they weren't going to have the forms for registered voters with signatures on them that they could use. Because they didn't care where the ballots came from. They only cared if they had creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe marked on them, which is why you see all these ballots that just have creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe and don't have any other people marked on them. Like in Las Vegas, for example. There's a lot of those. So it's not that it's a flawed security measure. When implemented, it can work. But it wasn't being used. For months, election officials have told Nevadans not to worry about ballots piling up in apartment trash cans or sent to wrong addresses. Discarded mail ballots cannot just be picked up and voted by anyone. A fact sheet from the Secretary of State's office says, oh, they wanted that. I had been saying you can go back before the election, with me talking about the mail-in ballots and absentee ballots, I said, you do mass mail-in ballots. I flat out said, you do mass mail-in ballots, okay? And there will be Democrats, all right, that are part of this, what we're now calling the steal, okay, that are going to go and pick them up in these places like Nevada. They're going to go, and because you're going to have, like you said, 5 or 10 ballots showing up, because Vegas, you get such a turnaround with people living there. Okay. And they're going to grab all these extra ones, probably even some of the people that are legit, and they're going to use them to perpetuate the steal there. Well, what we call the steal now. But I said to steal the election. They didn't care about the signatures. Them saying, oh, well, they'll be used was a smokescreen. Because they knew they were going to have illegitimate, illegal ballots being cycled in. They knew this. All mail-in ballots must be signed on the ballot return envelope. This signature is used to authenticate the voter and confirm that it was actually the voter and not another person who returned the mail ballot. I wanted to test that claim by simulating what might happen if someone returned ballots that didn't belong to him or her. Plenty of people had this opportunity. Billy Gerwin, a 10-year Las Vegas resident, found 5 loose ballots in his apartment mailroom. Oh, yeah, but we had nothing to worry about in Las Vegas. We should just trust the election results when all these ballots just show up and, are sitting there in people's mail rooms, in trash cans, stuff like that. Hey, whatever. A reader emailed me a picture of a pile of mail on the side of the road, which included loose ballots. There are numerous pictures of similar examples on social media. Yeah. People took pictures of this. Twitter, Facebook, they tried to hide this. They knew. They knew this was going on. They tried to hide this information from the masses. Oh, go to sleep. Nothing's going on. Perfectly legit elections are going to happen. Don't worry about it. 9 people participated in this test. I wrote their names in cursive using my normal handwriting. They then copied my version of their name onto their ballot envelope. This 2-step process was necessary to ensure no laws were broken, because it would have been illegal for him to physically sign it himself. So basically, what they did is had them either like try to the idea of when you were a kid and you tried to forge your parents' name on a dismissal note or something like that with school, or an absentee note when you cut, kind of like that. That's what they did. Perfectly legal. And watch what happened. On Monday, I asked Clark County Registrar Joe Gloria about this scenario. If ballots signed by someone else came through, we would still have the signature match to rely on for identity, he said. Asked if he was confident the safeguard would identify those ballots, he said, I'm confident that process has been worked through this I'm confident that the process has been worked throughout this process. Has been working throughout this process. I'm sorry. Isn't that funny? Oh, it's working. Don't worry. Nothing to see here. And then here we go. He was wrong. 8 of the 9 ballots went through. In other words, signature verification had an 89% failure rate in catching mismatched signatures. Again, because they didn't care. You found the one person out of the 9 that looked at your ballots, if we're assuming one person got each, that was legit and said, nah, this don't match. Or the person was a Trump voter, wasn't a Biden voter and was a Trump voter, and they went, yeah, not legit. Take your pick. Take a pick. This could explain how a ballot signed by Rosemary Hartle, who died in 2017, made it through signature verification, as reported by 8 News Now. It could explain how Jill Stoke, a longtime Las Vegas resident, was told the signature on her ballot matched, even though she said she never received it. See, this is an opinion. This is news. And the Las Vegas Review-Journal is labeling this as opinion. County officials aren't working proactively to determine whether unscrupulous actors abuse this vulnerability in a widespread fashion. Well, of course they're not. They wanted Joe Biden to win. Do you think they're going to play fair? They're Democrats and never Trumpers. Gloria's office doesn't have an investigatory team. He said his office catches fraudulent votes when they're reported to us. So if a criminal doesn't admit he committed voter fraud, Clark County is unlikely to find out about it. Willful ignorance isn't an election security strategy. It's an excuse. This person has to have known that nothing was legit with this, and has to know that people were just allowing ballots to slip through. Had to know. I'm sorry. If you're in the position he's in, you can't be that stupid. Leave aside the presidential race. Fewer than 200 votes separate the leading candidates in Senate District 5. Yeah, 200 votes. That's a close-ass race. In 2018, Senator Keith Pickard won his race by 24 votes. Even small amounts of fraud can swing results. And they're saying, oh, well, finding a few results really isn't going to swing anything. Here's examples. That's the left. Well, if there is, because there's no fraud too. Well, if there is fraud, it wouldn't really affect anything. This sounds like it would. It did with Franken. It did with, Mr. SNL's on-the-spot reporter, Al Franken. It was hundreds of votes, of just 470 votes or 50 votes or something like that separated him from the incumbent. And they sent a Clinton lawyer that the Democrats have hired to try to stop the stopping of their steal. The Democrats are using this guy. He won Frankel a seat. Yeah. They're going to war because we're going to war. They fought dirty, and they're going to continue to fight dirty. They're going to try to play it like when this stuff is coming out, even if it's coming out in court, you're going to see the legacy media saying, nothing to see here, nothing happened, oh, no. They're either going to ignore it or they're going to completely spin things. That's what they're going to have to do because they're screwed at this point. Because when you have these small margins as examples, that destroys their argument. Well, it doesn't really affect an election if there's only a few. It really does. It waters down and/or cancels people's votes. It's unclear how much voter fraud took place in Nevada, but it's clear signature verification isn't the fail-safe security check elections officials made it out to be. Now, this is the thing. He was able to do this. There should be an audit in Nevada. Plain and simple. They need to audit. No ifs, ands, or buts. All 50 states should have to do an audit, especially the ones that have Dominion doing their tallying. Because consistently across from state to state to state that's used it, the quote-unquote glitch has shown up. And it's shown up on the note of the federal level with, say, senators and congresspeople and Trump and Biden. In theory, Corky Messner here in New Hampshire is within their little margin and could have won and beaten Shaheen. But we won't know unless there's an audit. But we're just told to shut up and accept the results of this clearly fabricated election. But hey, whatever. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. So yeah, I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.